In 2023, lawmakers promised strict oversight of artificial intelligence. Public hearings were televised. Executives from major technology firms were questioned about safety, bias, and the long-term risks of advanced AI systems. Artificial intelligence moved from a niche technical topic to a central policy issue almost overnight. But while the public debate unfolded on camera, a quieter process was happening behind the scenes. Federal lobbying disclosures show a notable increase in spending tied directly to artificial intelligence policy. As draft legislation evolved, so did the language shaping it. This is the Power Files, investigating how power actually moves. Today, we're examining how major technology companies are influencing the future of AI regulation, not through dramatic confrontation, but through structured engagement in the policy process. The rapid rise of generative AI fundamentally changed the technology landscape. The release of large language models capable of producing human-like text, code, and analysis accelerated adoption across industries. Companies such as OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, and Meta invested billions into AI development and deployment. Venture capital funding surged. AI startups multiplied. Enterprises integrated machine learning tools into daily operations. With that growth came concern. Questions emerged about misinformation, intellectual property, workforce disruption, national security, and the concentration of technological power. Policymakers responded with urgency. In the United States, congressional committees held hearings on AI safety. In Europe, regulators accelerated work on the European Union's AI Act, one of the most comprehensive regulatory frameworks for artificial intelligence to date. The stated goal was oversight. But regulation is rarely written in isolation. Public records indicate that major technology companies significantly increased lobbying expenditures as AI moved to the center of policy discussions. Microsoft expanded its AI-focused government affairs efforts. Google intensified its engagement around machine learning governance. Meta and other firms submitted formal policy recommendations to lawmakers and regulatory bodies. In addition to direct lobbying, industry coalitions formed to shape emerging regulatory standards. Trade groups began issuing position papers on AI transparency, accountability, and safety protocols. Think tanks hosted policy briefings. Former regulators joined technology firms in advisory capacities. This pattern is not unusual. Large industries routinely engage with policymakers during the drafting of new legislation. Complex technologies often require technical input from those building them. But in emerging sectors, early influence can shape long-term structure. If definitions within legislation are crafted narrowly, certain models may fall outside regulatory scope. If compliance thresholds are set at specific computational scales, only the largest systems may qualify for oversight. Meanwhile, smaller developers may face disproportionate compliance burdens if rules are broadly defined without scale-based adjustments. In the United States, lobbying disclosures show consistent engagement between lawmakers and representatives from leading AI firms. In Europe, technology companies actively engaged with regulators shaping the AI Act, advocating for risk-based frameworks rather than blanket restrictions. The distinction matters. Risk-based regulation classifies AI systems by category, imposing stricter oversight only on applications deemed high risk. That approach can provide flexibility for certain use cases while concentrating compliance costs elsewhere. How those risk categories are defined can determine market dynamics. Early regulatory drafts surrounding AI emphasized broad transparency requirements, safety testing obligations, and reporting standards. Over time, legislative language evolved. Definitions of high-risk systems narrowed. Compliance obligations became more detailed. Thresholds based on computational scale or deployment context were introduced. Small wording changes in legislation can determine which companies face the highest compliance costs, which firms are exempt from certain rules, and how enforcement mechanisms operate. For startups, regulatory complexity can be expensive. Legal teams, reporting infrastructure, audit procedures, and ongoing compliance reviews require significant capital. For large technology companies already operating global compliance divisions, those obligations may be easier to absorb. Regulation can create guardrails. It can also create structural advantages. If compliance costs rise high enough, smaller competitors may struggle to compete in regulated markets. Meanwhile, established firms may adapt more efficiently due to existing legal and operational frameworks. In financial markets, similar patterns have emerged historically. Following the 2008 financial crisis, new regulatory regimes increased compliance requirements across banking institutions. Larger banks, with extensive compliance infrastructure, adapted. Smaller institutions often face proportionally higher burdens. Technology regulation may follow similar dynamics. The question is not whether regulation is necessary. It is how regulatory architecture influences competitive outcomes.
Artificial intelligence is expected to become a foundational layer of global economic infrastructure. Governments increasingly view AI not only as a commercial technology, but as a strategic asset tied to national competitiveness and security. In the United States, policymakers have framed AI leadership as critical to economic dominance. In Europe, regulators emphasize consumer protection and ethical safeguards. In China, state-driven AI development aligns closely with national strategic objectives. Different regulatory philosophies can shape global competition. If one region imposes strict compliance requirements while another prioritizes rapid deployment, capital and talent may shift accordingly. Companies influencing regulation are not simply shaping domestic markets. They are influencing global standards. Technology standards often cascade internationally. The regulatory frameworks adopted by the United States and the European Union frequently shape how companies operate worldwide. Large firms argue that their engagement ensures practical, technically informed regulation. Critics argue that concentrated influence risks consolidating market power. Both perspectives reflect structural realities. Industry and policy are intertwined. The intersection of corporate expertise and legislative authority is a consistent feature of modern governance. Artificial intelligence will define the next phase of economic competition, labor markets, and geopolitical strategy. Regulation will shape its boundaries. But in the process of writing those rules, influence plays a role. Understanding that influence is essential to understanding the future of AI itself. This has been The Power Files.